fishermen were attacked yet again by the Lankan Navy, who pelted stones at them and prevented them from fishing. Bad news from the IIT Madras, as yet another student suicide is recorded in the campus. Around 9,000 students from the state appeared for the IIT joint entrance exams today at 6 centers across Tamil Nadu. Works at Kudamkulam has been speeded up as the workers and scientists have been working continuously day and night to complete the plant in 2 months. The number of confirmed swine flu cases in the state has risen to 29, with 14 of them hailing from Chennai. The war between FEFC and Producers Council seems to intensify. The Producers Council has announced that it will boycott the tri-party talks to be held tomorrow. Hello and welcome to News Tonight with me, Deepthi. Before we move into all the stories in detail, let's have a look at the national headlines. The Prime Minister accepts President Zardari's invitation to Pakistan. The two meet for 40 minutes, described as friendly and constructive. President Zardari meets Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. India brings up Mumbai attacks and Hafiz Saeed. In a significant development, sources tell NDTV both Prime Minister Singh and President Zardari agree that Sir Creek can be resolved very soon. The Home Ministers of the two countries meet. Rahman Malik tells NDTV his talks with Chidambaram were fruitful and a milestone for greater understanding. Would like President Zardari to visit Jammu and Kashmir, and I would like to visit Mirpur and Muzaffarabad, Omar Abdullah tells NDTV. News in detail. Indian fishermen in 223 motorboats were attacked by Lankan Navy men who pelted stones at them and prevented them from fishing. This attack is alleged to have taken place even as the Indian fishermen were fishing well within Indian waters. Besides arrests and firing, the Lankan Navy, which has been claiming that the fishermen often stray into its international maritime boundary line to lay their nets, has been resorting to pelting stones at fishermen whom they call intruders. Works at Kudamkulam nuclear power plant has been speeded up as the scientists and workers have been working continuously, even foregoing their week offs and breaks. Around 1,000 employees and more than 500 contracted workers are determined to complete the work in the plant within 2 months, as that's when the centre had promised that the plant will be commissioned, generating around 1,000 megawatts of power for Tamil Nadu. While the works at Kudamkulam nuclear power plant are in full swing, the Tuticorin Coastal People's Welfare Forum has urged the government to conduct disaster management workshop in Kudamkulam. The General Secretary of this organization says that the plant should be commissioned only after the locals are given disaster management training. He also urged the government to revoke all cases filed against anti-nuclear protesters.
கூட்டமைப்பின் வாயிலாக நாங்கள் தமிழக அரசை கேட்டுக்கொள்வது, கூடங்குளம் அணு உலைக்கு எதிராக போராடிய போராட்டக்காரர்கள் மீது போடப்பட்டுள்ள அனைத்து வழக்குகளையும் தமிழக அரசானது எவ்வித நிபந்தனையுமின்றி உடனடியாக வாபஸ் பெற வேண்டும். அத்தோடு அணு உலை இயங்குவதற்கு முன்பாக அணு உலையை சுற்றி அமைந்துள்ள 30 கிலோமீட்டர் சுற்றளவில் வசிக்கும் மக்களுக்கு மேலாண்மை பேரிடர் பயிற்சி கண்டிப்பான முறையில் கொடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்க வேண்டும். அதை அரசு செய்ய தவறினால் இந்திய அணுமின் கழகத்தின் மீது சட்டப்படி நடவடிக்கை எடுக்க இன்டர்நேஷனல் அட்டாமிக் எனர்ஜி அசோசியேஷனில் எங்கள் கூட்டமைப்பானது முறைப்படியாக முறையிட்டு இந்திய அணுமின் கழக ஆணையத்தின் மீது நடவடிக்கை எடுக்க முடிவு செய்யும்.
The stalemate between FEFC and Producers Council seems to intensify more, as the Producers Council has announced that it will boycott the tri-party talks to be held tomorrow. FEFC has, however, decided to take part in the talks with the Labour Welfare Board, expressing anguish over the indefinite protests by FEFC. The Producers Council has alleged that more than 22 shoots are affected by the protests, causing huge losses to the producers. They have also added that the decent workers who are affected by irregularities in FEFC will come out of the organization on their own, and the Producers Council is ready to work with them. Moving on, the number of confirmed swine flu cases in the state has risen to 29, with 14 of them hailing from Chennai. For now, Coimbatore, Kadalur and Chennai have been identified as high-risk areas. At this juncture, one more person in Coimbatore has been observed positive for swine flu and is admitted in a hospital in Kovai. Health Department sources say that they are taking various steps in this regard and are setting up monitoring camps at entry points to the state, including the airport and railway stations. In a thanksgiving gesture to the people of Sankarankoil who gave the ruling AIADMK a mammoth victory, new bus service between the southern town of Chennai and Sankarankoil was inaugurated in Sankarankoil today. Taking part in the budget session of the Tamil Nadu Assembly, recently elected legislator Muthuselvi placed a request for a new bus service from Sankarankoil to Chennai. Following this, the bus service was inaugurated today in Sankarankoil. Moving on, around 9,000 students from the state appeared for the IIT joint entrance exams today at 6 centers at Chennai, Coimbatore, Madurai, Salem, Trichy and Tirunelveli. More than 5 lakh students took up the exams nationwide. These students will compete for around 10,000 seats in 15 IITs across India. Students taking the exam this year are likely to be the last batch of students to do so. The current format, as the Ministry of Human Resource Development is likely to introduce the Indian Science Engineering Eligibility Test from next year. But on the flip side of the exams, bad news from the IIT Madras, as yet another student suicide is recorded in the campus. Every year, about half a dozen students commit suicide, mostly due to academic pressures. This time, the victim is a 20-year-old boy who committed suicide early this morning. Our crime correspondent Salim has more on this.
The victim is identified as Kuldeep Yadav, who is doing his second year civil engineering in IIT Chennai. At around 10:35 this morning, Kuldeep was found hanging from the ceiling. The hostel authorities rescued him and rushed him to the nearby hospital. He was treated, but he succumbed and died. His body was moved to the Roypeta Government Hospital mortuary for a postmortem examination. He is basically from Uttar Pradesh, and the police say that the college authorities have informed the parents, and the parents are on their way to Chennai. The police say since it is IIT, they are basically dependent on the college authorities for further information and the cause of death.
A few weeks after India supported the resolution passed against Lanka in UNHRC, Indian delegation is all set to visit the war-torn areas of the neighboring island. However, this long pending visit was planned even before March and was delayed due to elections in 5 states. More news and updates will follow after a short break. Stay tuned.